Alright, guys, welcome to WWE Raw May 11th, 2020 review. If you guys are new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet to the channel, I don't know why the hell you haven't subscribed if you've watched my videos and so forth in the past and have been following them. Please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. As usual, go ahead, leave comments, opinions down below. Hit the like button if you like this video after you watch the entire video of taking a chance and seeing what I have to say on this episode. Honestly, this episode was a complete waste of fucking time. A bore show. It's a boring fucking show. Nothing entertained me whatsoever. I thought the whole entire show itself was a joke. Nothing exciting happened here. Becky Lynch made a huge announcement that she is pregnant. She's no longer the women's champion on Raw and can no longer defend the title. She actually had the title inside the briefcase and relinquished the title to the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women's side, and Asuka is now our WWE Raw Women's Champion. Now, do I have a problem with this? Not exactly, but at the same time, I kind of think they got lazy there trying to develop a great storyline building towards a tournament to crown a #1 contender. But at the same time, it wasn't illogical. But me and my friend Matt, he and I were like bouncing things back and forth about that, and I saw his logic in the tournament, but this is WWE we're talking about. Do they do anything creative? Do they do anything outside the box? Do they do anything that will build other people on the roster? Of course not. They don't believe in building value in a division. They don't see value in anything. The only thing they do is they rinse and repeat, do the same thing over and over again, do stale matches after stale match, and deliver nothing that's worth entertainment to the audience, yet they say they're sports entertainment. Complete other joke. I don't get this company. I don't get the roster that they have. They have a great roster, and yet they produce nothing for us as an audience. I don't get what this company is trying to prove. Asuka is women's champion. I have to say this. They need to get rid of this fucking gimmick right away, but it doesn't look like they're going to, because later on in the show, they had Kairi Sane there. She was acting like a bizarro whack job as well, and I don't see this character disappearing anytime soon. So this is a big time travesty, and for her to be women's champion with that kind of gimmick doesn't fly with me. Anywho, backstage we go. We have Charlie Caruso speaking to a still teary-eyed Becky Lynch. At the same time, Rey Mysterio joins Becky Lynch, stepping in to give Lynch a hug, stating from one parent to another, congratulations. Then they are joined by Ricochet, Street Profits, Bianca Belair, R-Truth, and several other superstars, all congratulating Lynch for the amazing discovery of her being pregnant and why she had to give up the title. The next match was Bobby Lashley versus Humberto Carrillo in a no disqualification match. I don't know what this match had to happen for. There was no, chairs, kendo sticks, tables, nothing to the extremes of a hardcore matchup. This was a straight up regular match that I didn't even know was a no disqualification until I just read this off of this article that I'm getting all my info from, because I cannot remember every fucking thing that happened during this show. Excuse me if I don't have the greatest memory in the world. This was a joke. Why Humberto Carrillo is facing Bobby Lashley one-on-one on this episode, just what, to make up for the mistake they made in a gauntlet match last week? Like, why? They don't have to make up nothing. Just move on. This was pointless crap. The neat part is, later on in the show, and I do believe it's right after this segment, you have MVP backstage talking to Bobby Lashley saying, look, you are a guy who's a dominant wrestler. You should be doing more in your career than sitting here playing with Mickey Mouse people like Humberto Carrillo. When's the last time you got a WWE Championship match? Last time I can even remember was when you were competing against John Cena in 2007, which, by the way, was a good match. At the end of the day, guys, I love the idea of building Bobby Lashley towards an opportunity against Drew McIntyre. These two guys have chemistry. They fought each other in TNA for the TNA World Championship, so they know what it's like to be in a main event scene on a promotion. So them working together won't be an issue. I think they'll do a very decent job together. The problem is with this is that I don't understand how you're going to make us believe that Lashley's even got a chance in hell to beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. I just don't see it happening. Not to mention, this should not be built up right coming to this pay-per-view that's coming up. If that happens, this is going to be a total travesty and a complete and utter joke. Really hope that does not happen. I hope this is built up in the next couple of weeks, maybe in about 2 or 3 months. Maybe they even put Bobby Lashley against Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, but I doubt that's going to happen, because I'll tell you why later on in this review. You won't fucking believe it. Bobby Lashley, of course, wins this match in less than like 5 minutes or so. So, Street Profits have a video from earlier today. Montez Ford says to Angelo Dawkins, Viking Raiders and Deep Boys, both members of the Street Profits, sit backstage earlier today in basketball gear. A Jordan-LeBron debate almost breaks out between the two men as they sit on the bench. Ford states the Street Profits are up and we want the smoke. Dear God, help me. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is just garbage all around. Complete and utter garbage. Backstage, Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar of the Viking Raiders discuss the basketball game they have against the Street Profits later tonight. Look at a basketball almost like they never seen one. We need to be physical, just like we are in the ring. We need to be careful of a foul. Both superstars look confused. Do you hear how unenthusiastic I sound right now? And it's really pathetic. You got two guys who are being completely made to look like idiots. Please, Viking Raiders, go join the Revival in AEW or some other promotion. You deserve better. This is pathetic. This was a complete, utter... It's, to me, this word burial is thrown around a lot lately in the last couple of years, but I have to admit, this, to me, seems like a burial. This is like, why do you put these characters in these kinds of segments that are totally ridiculous? Like, why the fuck would you do that? Fucking retarded crap. Backstage, we get an interview with Asuka. So when they return to commercial break, Charlie Caruso is standing with Asuka. Caruso states she knows everything has happened really fast, but asks how Asuka feels now that she's the champion. Asuka jabbers quickly in Japanese with laughs and smiles in between, and she's clearly excited. Now, I believe in this segment you get to see Kairi Sane show up. And I don't believe this is mentioned by this article. But quite frankly, this gimmick's got to go. Like I said, this gimmick for Asuka has got to get lost. Bring back the NXT Asuka version, or get this fucking title off of her ASAP. Please. So a quick announcement that there would be Randy Orton and Edge both going to be in the ring together for the first time since the Last Man Standing match at WrestleMania 36. We then get sent into a video package showing highlights from the match, Edge leaning his head on Orton as he wins the match. Wait until we get to that part. That's the last segment of the show, which, whatever. You're not going to hear a very positive reaction on this from me at all. They also were mentioning this was supposed to be up next. Somebody made a miscue on that one because it wasn't. It was the last segment on the show. Don't quite understand why they mentioned anything like that, but whatever. We also get information about Apollo Crews' match that he had against Andrade, and he injured his knee 2 weeks ago. And so forth. So they go backstage, and there's a video clip of Apollo Crews' injury in his match with Andrade. We see Zelina Vega is standing backstage with Andrade, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. An argument is going between the four of those people during this, and they go to commercial break. I don't get it. Why are they taking a faction like this, who, quite frankly, could be a real dominant force? You know, you could have Angel Garza, Austin Theory being a tag team, building up that tag team division. I think these two guys would build great chemistry together as tag team wrestlers. You have Andrade get built up a little bit more and eventually pushed into that WWE title picture against Drew McIntyre. I think that would make a fantastic match. Those two guys had a one-on-one match back in NXT days, so I don't see why they wouldn't succeed here. If they succeeded in NXT with that same exact type of wrestling chemistry, why wouldn't that work here in the WWE main roster outside of Vince McMahon having complete and utter control over the match and making it so horrible that nobody gives a fuck about it? So they're messing up dearly on the Andrade, Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and Zelina Vega group. They deserve to be together. They all fit one another. They can help build one another up. Andrade and Angel Garza and Austin Theory being a tag team is a fantastic idea. They have very good wrestling styles in certain ways. And I mean, eventually down the line, maybe after a year of them working, all three of them working together, you break them all up into singles competitors. But at this point in time, why would you do that? Austin Theory's a young kid. He needs to be with somebody he can grow with. I mean, if you take him away from Angel Garza and Andrade, and you put him with a main eventer like a Randy Orton or something of like that kind of nature, and make Randy Orton a manager type role, which I don't see that happening right now. That'd be kind of neat. I think Austin Theory could benefit being with Randy Orton, but I also feel that him being in a tag team with Angel Garza would be great for him. It would also build the tag team division up because it certainly needs it, especially if it's just going to be Raw having one side of tag team wrestlers and SmackDown having their own side of tag team wrestlers. I don't see why having Angel Garza and Austin Theory would be a bad idea. But hey, that's just me. I'm just a moron with a headset on talking about wrestling and doesn't own a multi-billion-dollar company. And God only knows if I did, this would not be going on. This would be a hell of a lot better show. That's all I can say about that. We have Angel Garza versus Akira Tozawa. This matchup was nothing much of anything but focused on Angel Garza and Austin Theory jabbering at each other, shooting trash of words at one another, and Angel Garza picking up the win and getting the 1-2-3 and hitting the win clipper, and that was it. Nothing mattered there. Akira Tozawa, I don't know why he's on Raw. This is like, I think the third, fourth week this guy has eaten a loss on fucking, or ate a loss on fucking Raw, and he's on NXT competing for Cruiserweight Championship gold in a tournament. Don't quite get that. Completely, utterly ridiculous. He's being an enhancement talent while he's also competing for a Cruiserweight Championship. How does that make sense? Please, give me a break. Make some fucking logic here. After the match was over, Garza once again stares down Theory. Garza mockingly states once again, all week, all year, all day. The argument is interrupted by Drew McIntyre's music sounding in the Performance Center. McIntyre makes his way down to the ramp and enters the ring. Garza, Andrade, and Theory stand together with Vega. McIntyre states that he was worried that as they weren't getting along, McIntyre lands a Claymore on Theory after he's pushed by Garza into the Claymore kick. From that point, Andrade shoves Garza into McIntyre for a Claymore kick as well. So Andrade shouts, "I am the champion," in McIntyre's face. Commentary asks, could this be a matchup of champion versus champion? McIntyre shoves Andrade with as we head back to the commercial break. Folks, I will give credit where credit is due. Andrade, Drew McIntyre, they had a singles match in NXT, as I already mentioned. These two competing one-on-one, champion versus champion, I don't particularly like the idea. The idea was stupid. The match was great. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a very entertaining match for what it was, but it gained nothing for Andrade. Andrade is your U.S. champion. You're going ahead and you have that title on him. Why are you putting him in a situation where he would have to lose? Drew McIntyre cannot afford to have a loss right now. He needs to continue racking up wins. Until he goes up against a big superstar who's at the same level as him, he could suffer a loss too without losing the championship at the same time. But right now, Drew McIntyre cannot afford a loss. He needs to continue this winning streak, or he needs to stay off television, or at least not be in any wrestling matches and just have regular segments until he is pushed into a championship matchup. And honestly, I think the best thing for WWE is that all champions should not be in regular singles matches. The only time they should be on TV is to defend their title. Otherwise, have them in segments that don't involve wrestling. I think that should be a championship privilege. I think that should be something that is given to someone that is a champion so that can preserve themselves from getting severely hurt. Especially right now with this pandemic, why the fuck would you have your champions go out there and injure themselves go out there and possibly injure themselves? You would want to keep those champions in good health and lower their probability of injury. So without no fans, what is the point of even having the champion on the show outside of maybe pushing in a segment for a championship match for a future date? Don't quite get it. So Andrade faced Drew McIntyre. Of course, Drew McIntyre was going to win this matchup. And after the match was over, he goes ahead and grabs a microphone. And he talks about that there's a brand-to-brand invitation. Now we're going back to, it's like this so-called wild card type bullshit. We're flipping back and forth here. This is just fucking ridiculous. Make up your decision and stick with it. A brand split, no brand split. A brand split, no brand split. But make your decision. Don't keep flip-flopping back and forth. It's fucking dumb. I don't get the logic here. If they think that having King Corbin be the challenger for Drew McIntyre next week on Raw without no championship nonetheless, who the hell cares? And not to mention, who cares about Drew McIntyre facing King Corbin? Who the fuck gives a shit? What a joke. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but I'm doing this because I want to build this channel up, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not producing enough videos for you guys, so I truly apologize, but this company is the only company that does a lot of content, and there's nothing to really indulge into. This is just a waste of fucking time. So we have a segment where they touch on the Undertaker's Last Ride documentary series that's going to be encored on the network tonight. And that's all. Seems like a good little documentary too. I might check in on that and give you guys a review on that. So here we are at this point. I already discussed about MVP talking to Bobby Lashley about when the last time he got a world championship match and blah, blah, blah. So we seem like we're getting a faction being built up, at least with MVP and Bobby Lashley. The last time these two guys worked together was in TNA, as I mentioned last week, or last night, excuse me, not last week, but last night. And they were in TNA in 2015 with the so-called group called the Beatdown Clan. I believe that's what they were called. And it was a joke. Now, MVP with Bobby Lashley, I don't really have a problem with. But later on in the show, there was an issue I did have a problem with, which I'll get into with you guys. We have a moment of bliss. Oh, God, would you give me... Honestly, the show should be called a moment of piss, because this is a moment where you could go to the bathroom and take a piss, because there was nothing entertaining about this at all. Nikki Cross is a fucking blithering idiot who acts like a child, mocks the Iconics, which came back. Holy fuck, help me. Why are the Iconics back in a wrestling ring? Let them go join Eva Marie and other people that cannot wrestle worth a fucking bowl of shit. I'm over this crap. This company could put a young person who's gotten 9 hours sleep and has so much fucking energy you could shake a stick at and still put them to sleep. This show is that boring. I don't get how they could be so bland and unentertaining like this. This is bullshit. This whole thing led up to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross facing the Iconics. And the Iconics win the match. Alexa Bliss eats the pinfall. Very surprising, though. I'm surprised that Alexa Bliss ate the loss here instead of Nikki Cross. But the Iconics win regardless, making the tag team champions seem worthless. Of course, why not? Alright, so Backstage, we have Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio discusses being thrown off the top of the WWE headquarters building where he saw his life flash before his eyes. And Caruso continues on to discuss the upcoming match of Mysterio and Black versus Rollins and Murphy. Now, they make the reason why Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio were able to make a return to the ring a night after being thrown off the building is because they were thrown off the building and only landed 6 feet onto a second ceiling underneath them. Huh? Look, logic doesn't exist in WWE. Really, honestly, a logic does not exist. You can clearly see that. Who the fuck would return to the wrestling ring a day after being thrown 6 feet from the top of a roof of a building onto another roof that's made of fucking concrete? Nobody would come back and wrestle after they were thrown 6 feet in the air down to another concrete roof. I'm sorry. That would not even fucking happen. I don't believe it would. What a joke. I sorry I'm yawning, but this like I said, this show fucking bores me. It bores me to no end. And how people can praise this shit, if you do praise this shit, please stop. You're not doing yourself any favors. You make yourself look like a douchebag. Really. You make yourself look fucking stupid. Now, you may ask me, well, then why are you watching the show then? Why you care so much about watching the show? Well, I don't particularly care so much, but I like to build the channel. And I'd like for one day this company to wake up, smell the coffee, and say, look, this is not something we should be doing. And actually deliver something for our audience to enjoy. And they haven't. They haven't delivered anything at all to this company. In this company whatsoever. And I think it's very sad and pathetic, honestly. So let's just move on through this wonderful world of crap. After he discusses that, Rollins walks up to Rey Mysterio just staring, and Mysterio says, being a father truly changes your life. I'm truly happy for you. Mysterio extends his hand. Rollins says nothing and walks away. And then, this made me laugh though. Rey Mysterio calls Rollins a dick. I totally agree. I think he's a fucking prick, honestly. So R-Truth is backstage and said he had his cousin Pretty Ricky if they needed more help. And Truth turned around, put in some fake teeth, and then said, I'm back as Pretty Ricky. That was funny as shit. I gotta give R-Truth some credit. That was very humorous, very off the wall, crazy and goofy, and really retarded. But it was still funny. It was one of those things where if you don't laugh at something that stupid, you don't have a sense of humor. Really, you're not alive. Check your pulse. Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, R-Truth go up against MVP, Braden Vink, and Shane Thorne. This was the part where I was scratching my head. You got R-Truth in the end of this matchup going ahead and puts in these false teeth as Pretty Ricky. He gets hit in the mouth, knocks the fake teeth out of his mouth, and he's like having the referee he wants to have the referee hold his fake teeth, and then MVP pulls the referee away, and then R-Truth delivers his finishing maneuver and pins him 1, 2, 3. Match is over. Bobby Lashley comes out, spears him, and R-Truth and him walk away together up the ramp. and want to continue the discussion they were having a while ago in the show. I honestly don't get this. If you're going to have Bobby Lashley join up with MVP, why would you make MVP lose to R-Truth, who is a fucking nobody on this show? He's worried about a 7-Eleven 24/7 Slurpee stale hot dog you could shove up your ass and say goodbye to it or something like that. Whatever. I'm just making shit up. Don't mind me. But honestly, why the fuck would you even link Bobby Lashley if you're going to build a program with him into a main event type of matchup with Drew McIntyre? Really, why? You have MVP win this match. You don't have him lose. This is fucking ridiculous. Anyway, so we get a video clip of earlier tonight. This is where things get really fucking bizarre. Really bizarre. That's where we talk about the basketball scene. I haven't gotten to that yet. We also get Shayna Baszler going ahead and saying, how stupid do you have to be to get knocked up while you are the champion? Gives all that away just to house some miserable parasite. Imagine Lynch barefoot and pregnant, laying on a couch, fat and eating bonbons. Baszler finishes her uncalled for the rant by stating that kid is going to suck. Baszler said, do you know who is the father? And that's it, and I rest my case. That was all. Byron goes ahead and is disgusted by Baszler's response to a joyful news. Phillips refuses to dignify Baszler's comment with a response at all. Phillips switches topics to the Undertaker's Last Ride documentary series, and Phillips then sends us into the video clip from the show. And blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Why is Shayna Baszler even a focal point right now at this point? You have made this woman look fucking utterly pathetic. There's nothing here for Baszler. She is dead as dead can get. I'm not going to use the word buried, but I will say this. She is dead in the water. She is doing nothing. She's going nowhere. Her career right now on Raw sucks. Get her to NXT where she will flourish and be successful again. Because right now, this is not helping her. Yes, they did a great job pushing her the way they did, but you would think that they would have had her win the Money in the Bank briefcase, giving her the opportunity, being the champion at this point, and saying all these things to Becky Lynch. I think that would have been great. Later on in the show, we do get a matchup with Natalya versus Shayna Baszler, which, by the way, wasn't a bad match either. But still, at the end of the day, guys, what does this do for Shayna Baszler? She's not the champion. Asuka is, with a very horrible gimmick, which I hope eventually they get rid of or get the title off of her ASAP. But it doesn't really matter. This company, it's just dead. That's all there is. That's the one word to describe WWE. They're dead. They're walking dead. They're like the fucking Walking Dead. That's all. That's all they are. They're the Walking Dead. That's all. This company's crap. Show after the little segment with the Undertaker promo, they have AJ Styles sitting there, and he's upset with the whole thing after eating some popcorn, and you think that this guy would have enough of good old The Undertaker after he's been buried. I guess he hasn't been buried enough yet. Let's bury him some more, huh? I don't know. Backstage, Becky Lynch, we see hugging Vince McMahon. Oh, God help us. Due to no audio, we don't know what they were laughing about or what Lynch said. Probably this is all a scripted show. And, this is all a script. She ain't really pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And she may return in less than, 2 months or something like that after Shayna Baszler wins the title. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I really don't care. This is garbage. Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, I should say. Buddy Murphy mostly does all the work here. He gets his ass kicked, but eventually they ends up being a DQ thanks to him pulling Rey Mysterio down from the apron after he gets hit by Rey Mysterio. Why was there a DQ? I have no idea. Where this made any sense, I don't know. Was Seth Rollins not part of this match? Was this a mistake, another miscue by the WWE? Was this supposed to be a handicap match with Aleister Black versus Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy? I mean, come on. This was fucking ridiculous, this whole ending. This could have been a good tag team matchup, and instead it was turned into a fucking load of garbage. Quite frankly, at this point in time, I mentioned this last night on the Money in the Bank review, and I'm going to mention it here. This was a good stopping point for Seth Rollins to take some time off, especially with the fact that his wife is pregnant with a kid. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take him off television? He's going nowhere right now, and he ends up after all this, he ends up injuring Rey Mysterio, cutting the eyelid and making him bleed to death. I don't know if it was legit or it was a blood pack or something like that they were using to actually get this over, but I have no idea. So back in the trainer's room, when we get back from commercial, you see Seth Rollins showing up into the training room trying to check in on Rey Mysterio, and Aleister Black is completely pissed. He whacks the shit out of fucking Buddy Murphy, and then Seth Rollins is following Rey Mysterio and the trainer into another room, trying to apologize and saying it wasn't his fault, that it wasn't Rey's fault, and that he wanted to apologize. He also was screaming out loud while he was holding Rey Mysterio planted against the edge of the steel steps with his eye placed up against it, saying it's not your fault, like a psychopath. I don't understand where they come up with these crazy characters that seem like they got some bipolar disease of some kind, but that's what it seems like to me. Like Seth has developed bipolarism, some kind of weirded out shit, but makes no sense to me. He goes from being the Messiah to a crazy nut job. I have no idea. Whatever. It's a dead issue as it is, and it really doesn't make a difference one way or another to me. So we get the worst thing on the entire show, a video clip of the basketball court earlier today of fucking Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins competing up against Ivar and Eric in a 2-on-2 basketball game, and they mop the floor with them 74-2, and the Viking Raiders get 19 fouls and only 2 points. I really don't get this. I truly don't. This is the Viking Raiders we're talking about. A team that was dominant in NXT Tag Team Division, and now they're playing basketball with the Street Profits. Yep, things have certainly changed for the Viking Raiders, formerly known as the War Raiders. And they're just trash. Really, the whole thing is just fucking garbage. I couldn't believe what I was watching. They're also showing after the game was over that they come back out. They start actually learning how to shoot the ball. They don't know how to check the ball. They think they're literally supposed to look at the ball and check it to see if there's anything wrong with it. He passes it back to him, and he hands the ball to the opponent, and they're able to score the first points of the game. Where does basketball have anything to do with wrestling? Can someone please tell me? You can't, because basketball has nothing to do with wrestling. It's just a load of bullshit and a waste of time. Alright, so Shayna Baszler goes up against Natalya. Shayna Baszler actually wins this match with a knee to the face and a 1-2-3. I did like the chemistry that Natalya and Shayna Baszler shared in this matchup. I didn't have any major issues with it. So I was very satisfied with that match. But again, like I said, Shayna Baszler is as dead can get. How is she going to get out of this hole? I don't think there is any way to do that. Bring her back to NXT. Let her do her thing. That's where she worked best. Because I knew she wasn't going to make it in Raw because they don't care to do anything with her on Raw. Last segment, then I'm going to close out the video here, guys. Edge and Orton's in-ring face-to-face segment was terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible, and I will tell you why. Randy Orton comes down to the ring. Edge is announcing that his in-ring action is not over yet. WrestleMania was not his last match. That he still got more matches under his belt that he can do. Randy Orton comes out, says that better man won the match, walks up the ramp, seems like he's contemplating on exiting the Performance Center, comes back down the ramp and gets back in the ring and says, look, I can't lie to you. Yeah, you were the better man, but you're not the better wrestler. And you may have put me down for a 10 count, but it took you 9 years to get back up on your feet and get back in this ring. And you and I have never had a one-on-one match. I did what you wanted. I gave you your last man standing match. But that's not a match, where the only thing you had to do is put your opponent down for a 10 count. Here, I want to go one-on-one with you at Backlash in a regular wrestling match. And Edge's face was a complete joke. That was not the response I was expecting. He had a look of doubt in his eyes, like he doesn't think he could do it. And Randy Orton did mention some good, valid points. You can do all the training in the world. All that ring rust ain't going to get that off unless you get in the ring and actually wrestle. Now, granted, that's true, but why would Edge have a glimmer of doubt when he was able to beat the living hell out of Randy Orton and take a beating from Randy Orton as well, and still manage to walk out as the winner of a last man standing match? A last man standing match is a step higher than a regulars match, and he's concerned that he can't beat Randy Orton in a regular match. Now, that's what we should have seen at WrestleMania, but we were getting WrestleMania, so we want to up the ante. I get that. Here, you got Edge contemplating after he proved to himself he could do a real hardcore wrestling match and still walk out on top as the winner. Why would he have any doubt to begin with? To me, that makes no sense. He doesn't even answer the question. He doesn't grab the microphone, act pissed, or say to him and look at him and say, look, I beat you. I don't have nothing more to prove to you. And I don't need to fight you. And actually, no, I wouldn't have gone that route. But if you want it so bad, this is the last time we're ever competing against each other. You and I are going at it one-on-one, singles match, Backlash, you're on. That's it. That's all you had to do, and it ended with a handshake with them nose to nose. Instead, you have Edge sitting there contemplating on whether or not he should accept the match, or if he thinks he can even accomplish a victory over Randy Orton in this matchup. Really bad shit. I didn't like this. This was bad way of bringing Edge back. It made him look like a complete and utter pussy. And I just, that's all I have to say on this Edge Randy Orton situation. This whole show was meaningless, didn't give you much of anything. That's all I have to say on that. Anyway, guys, as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel, and leave the comments down below. I will get back to you on that, and I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.